Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to an updated mod spotlight of Railcraft. Oh yeah, all kinds of new toys added to Railcraft. Covert Jaguar, as you've seen on my multiplayer series, if you're watching it, has been putting a lot of work into Railcraft and added all kinds of cool stuff related to steam power. So that's what a majority of this mod update is going to be about, all the cool new steam power devices that you can get from Railcraft. Now we've also got a couple changes and additions to some blocks, so you can see a bunch of items in my inventory here ready to spotlight for you. So without further ado, let's start talking about the new cool stuff you can do with Railcraft. First off, one of the changes that we've got here is to the feed station. You can see it requires some golden carrots here to get going. Now the golden carrots are simply golden nuggets around a carrot, and that is pretty cool. The changes to the feed station are that it no longer completely goes nuts when feeding cows, or any animals for that part. So in the past, it was pretty easy. If you overloaded the amount of wheat that you placed in your feed station, you'd quickly have far too many cows in your pen, and you might wind up overloading the area. So it's a little bit more diligent about making sure that it's careful with its feeding mechanics, and I think its range has also changed just a little bit. So these cows now should be able to become friends and have a little baby. Hey there, baby cow. Cool. So feed station, minor changes, but an awesome block. And you can supply it with wheat using your carts or whatever you want. Now, of course, what would you have in a Railcraft update without a new rail? We've got a pretty cool one called a disposal track, and we've also got the embarking track. The embarking track will pick up an animal and place it in a cart, or an entity, or a player, I believe it picks up players too, as the cart goes by. So I'm just going to place an animal there. And then the disposal cart will just drop the animal off and through the disposal track. So hopefully this works. Yeah, there we go. So it drops him off pretty much as he goes over that. Pretty cool, and the animal should fall down into the pit below. Awesome. Now here's a neat little device called the Anchor Sentinel. As you know, world anchors will load chunks around you, and it loads like a nice 3x3 area. And if I hit the F9 key here, you can see the purple sparklies showing up, letting us know which parts of the chunks are loaded. Now the Anchor Sentinel is a neat little device. You can see it's a little bit cheaper. It just requires one piece of gold and one ender pearl. And what this guy lets you do is load chunks in a nice long line. So this is perfect for some rail tracks. Next up, we've got changes or additions to the World Anchor. As you know, World Anchor will keep a 3x3 chunk area loaded. Keeps the chunks running and all the machines running inside the chunk. Now you might want to go ahead and set up like a nice long rail system and keep all the chunks along the railway loaded. Well, typically you'd have to build a ton of world anchors to make that happen, and those things are kind of expensive. So luckily we've got the Anchor Sentinel, and this guy's pretty cool. Just run off in the direction that you want to go. Now you have to be in the same line as the Anchor Sentinel to the world anchor itself. So let's give this a shot. I'm going to right click on the Anchor Sentinel. Tells me the pairing is complete, and you can see I'm running right along the same horizontal axis. Right click on this, world anchor successfully paired. Nice. Now this entire chunk, just one chunk, just the whole way down is loaded. So you can see by doing that, it just keeps one long line of chunks loaded. So basically this looks like a chunk here. Yeah, look at that. You can see it's a big chunk area, and it's staying loaded all the way. Where the world anchor is keeping a 3x3 grid. Pretty cool. I like it. Nice way to keep your tracks loaded down a long path. Alright guys, now let's get into the meat of this upgrade for Railcraft. We've got steam power. Now there's three main blocks that you have to worry about when it comes to steam power. The first one will be the boiler. The boiler will produce steam for you. And then we have some engines that can create Buildcraft energy with the steam. And then we have some blocks that can create industrial craft power using the steam. Now you've got a couple options here. There's the solid fueled firebox and the liquid fueled firebox. I'm going to start with the solid one. Now there's three layouts that you can go with the fireboxes. You can go with just one here, and this will give you the small 1x1 boiler. And all you have to do is choose whether you want a low or high pressure boiler on top. So check this guy out, okay? You can see the steam boiler is already up and ready to go. So that's all you need to do to get your 1x1 boiler going. So create the firebox. Now you can see that there is no right click ability here. So this is a multi-block structure similar to the tanks and all the other cool multi-block structures we've got going on. Now this is a little complex looking, but don't worry, I'll walk you through it. Now if you want to expand this, you can also go with a 2x2. And you can see now that we don't have our right-click structure here. We can go ahead, of course, though, and add on to this thing. Now, when you go up to 2x2, you're going to have to add on just a little bit more. Cool. Now it's all come together, and we've got a bigger steam boiler. Pretty awesome. So you can see that the steam boiler, when it's 2x2, is a little bit more powerful than the 1x1. Now the other cool part of this is that the 2x2 doesn't have to have 8 blocks on top. It can go up to 12 blocks on top. So you can see as soon as we start adding blocks here, it's no longer a fully formed multi-block structure until we get it all the way up, and now it's pretty cool. So you can have either 8 blocks on top or 12. Pretty neat. Now once you get your 3x3 structure going, then things really get complicated. Oh yeah, it's time to party. Let's go ahead and start building this thing out. So I'm putting some of these low pressure boilers on here. Let's see what happens. There we go. So this guy has been built. So you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got 12 blocks on top here, or 18 actually. Now with a 3x3 you can get 18 blocks on top, or you can go up to 27. Ta-da! Or you can go up to 36. So depending on, how big you want to make your boilers, you can make them kind of as big as you want. This is the max size here that you can get though. 3x3 on the bottom and 36 boilers on top. Now the thing about these steam boilers is that the bigger they are, the more efficient they're going to be. So it's better to create one giant one as opposed to a bunch of small ones. So that's one of the things you want to keep in mind. Bigger is better. Yep, more efficient, more steam. Now, you notice me building with a low pressure boiler, but the other option here is a high pressure boiler. These things are pretty cool too. Now, the difference between a low pressure boiler and a high pressure boiler is that low pressure boilers will not produce as much steam. High pressures produce about twice as much steam as a low pressure does. However, the low pressure boiler is more efficient when using fuel. So it's up to you. Are you going for efficiency, or are you going for, more steam? If you want more steam, go ahead and build yourself a high pressure boiler and you'll really get a lot more steam. Like I said, twice as much. So let's go ahead and put this on here. Ta-da! Now we've got a pretty small high pressure boiler. So again, up to you. And the recipes are shown here. Low pressure plates are just 2 iron plates, and the high pressure ones are 2 steel plates. So more expensive for the high pressure boiler, but more steam output, less fuel efficiency. Your choice if you want to go for high or low pressure. For the purposes of this spotlight, I'm going to make myself a decent sized, not fully large, but decent sized high pressure boiler. Now the rest of this is actually pretty simple. You just need to run water to this guy. The water actually has to be run into the bottom, the fire thingies. Yep, the fireboxes. Yep, that's the word I was looking for. That water gets pumped directly into the firebox. Now it's very important that you keep a steady supply of water to this thing, because if the water dries up and there's still fuel in there, this thing will explode. And it's a pretty big explosion at that. Maybe I'll show it, because everybody likes an explosion. Yeah, so cut off the water and you'll be in trouble. Next up, add some fuel source. You can go with coal. I'm choosing to use peat from forestry, but you can use coal, whatever you want for the most part. Just place it in this slot here, and you'll see it'll immediately start going into the steam boiler. Now note how quickly it's using up that peat. That's because the temperature inside the steam boiler is starting to rise. We also used high pressure ones, so it's going to use fuel a lot more quickly. But that's okay, don't worry about it. We'll be getting plenty of power going on soon. You can see this heat level is already starting to rise. Pretty awesome. Now we don't have any steam just yet because we don't have enough heat in here to start creating the steam. So it takes a little while for your steam heater to heat up. That's why it's recommended typically to leave your steam boiler on rather than constantly turning it on and off. The purpose of this thing is pretty much to generate a steady supply of steam. It'll use up a lot of heat and energy and materials to get started, but once it is started, it'll definitely slow down and use less. So this is an initial heat up stage that takes a lot of fuel. So a little bit of time has passed. We're up to 40 degrees C. We still don't have any steam being created here. And we're still filling up the tank with water from our engines over here pumping out liquid. Pretty cool. 40 degrees, we're building up heat. And what I've got here is my high pressure boiler, still getting hot. Yep, Lots of stuff going on there in the steam boiler. You can see it's already up to 82 degrees C. Now, the highest temperature that a high-pressure steam boiler can get up to is 1,000 degrees C. And from what I'm told, it can take up to 4 to 6 hours for this thing to get to full temperature. So this thing is really meant to get pretty hot, but it'll be very efficient once it gets up that high. For now, it's still building up heat. So what I did is built myself a little bit smaller low-pressure boiler. The low pressure can only get up to 500 degrees C, and you can see it's already heating up a little bit faster than its counterpart over there. Yep, so we're already up to about 45 C here. Yeah, quickly rising. So if you want to go for more output, the high voltage is definitely, or the high pressure is definitely the way to go, but it will take a while to get up to max temperature. And the lower pressure one will go a little bit faster, especially if it's smaller, like this one here. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, what you're going to basically get out of this is for every cubic meter of boiler tank, so this one's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this has 8 cubic meters because there's 8 blocks on it basically. You get, for each one of these, you get 10 steam per tick, which is enough to run a single hobbyist engine at full capacity, or a commercial steam engine at about half capacity. You'll basically get about 2 megajoules per tick per block on top of this thing. So we should be able to get about 16 megajoules per tick out of the 8 blocks on top of this low pressure boiler. Pretty cool. And you get 20 steam per tick with the high pressure boiler, so twice as much. But again, twice as much fuel use, or a lot more fuel use. I don't know if it's twice as much. It's a lot, though. So I'm going to keep feeding this thing and see how it goes. Meanwhile, I'm going to get some water pumped out over to this guy as well, because we better have some water in here if we're going to start building up some temperature. Yep. And I'll be back when this thing's getting full. And you can see I have a quarry over here ready to feed and demonstrate the use of the steam engines. Oh, and look at this. Our low-pressure steam boiler is about to hit 100 degrees C, which means we should start getting some steam here. Yeah, there we go. So we're draining some water out of our water tank, and we're building up steam inside the steam boiler. And this guy also has some steam going because he passed the 100 degrees C mark. Awesome. So both steam boilers are creating steam for us. Very cool to see. And you can see we're using way less steam over here in the low voltage as compared to the high voltage one. Pretty neat. Now, let's go about showing you how to use steam. Not so bad, believe it or not. All we need to do is get hooked up with one of the 3 steam engines that are available to us. The hobbyist steam engine I showed you guys in the past. You just need some of these gold-plated gears. You've also now got the commercial steam engine, which requires iron gears and some of those iron plates. And then, of course, we've got the industrial steam engine requiring steel gears, so some steel ingots required, and some steel plates. So definitely some complex stuff. So let's check out the hobbyist steam engine first. So place down your hobbyist steam engine, which, as you guys recall, you can fill with water and fuel yourself, but you can power these guys, and like I said, they should produce about 2 megajoules per tick, so about twice as much as a coal engine. Pretty neat. Just connect some golden waterproof piping here. That's the recommended piping to use for steam, is golden waterproof. It's not going to fill up this side slot here, though, until you turn on the steam engine. So go ahead and activate your lever, and the steam will start going in there. And it'll start telling you how many megajoules per tick it's creating. So you can see it's really not creating much yet, but once it has a nice buildup of steam inside there, it should start producing a good amount of power for you. So you can see the megajoule meter rising here, and once we hit to the 2 mark, we should be going pretty well. Like I said, 2 steam engines. So you can see the little robot here. He's really not able to run too well, is he? Nope, he doesn't have nearly the type of power that he needs to get going. So, yep, we can see we stalled out at 2 megajoules per tick, and we're really not impacting the amount of steam that this thing's producing. It's still producing more than it really needs to. The boiler is still heating up, and yeah, let's get a better engine on here. Turn this guy off. Okay, and as soon as we turn it off, it's going to start draining out the megajoules, so it kind of dies out. Let's put the next level up on there, the commercial steam engine. This guy, pretty awesome. If we check out the interface, there is no way to manually feed this, so you must connect the commercial steam engine to a steam boiler. There's no other way around it. Let's go ahead and turn him on and see what kind of power we can get. You can see steam starting to filter in there as soon as I flip the lever, and we're starting to build up some Minecraft joules here. Lots of steam will get us lots of power. This thing has the ability to produce 4 Minecraft joules per tick. pretty awesome. So this creates about almost as much as a fuel-based engine. A fuel-based engine produces 5. Biogas engine also produces 5. So this thing a little bit less than a fuel engine. So the robot's still not quite, getting enough power to drain out the area for the quarry. So we want an even better engine to run off steam? Not a problem. We can get ourselves the industrial steam engine. This guy is pretty awesome. You can see up here we've got plenty of steam filtering in there. The redstone signal's already on. And we should have plenty of steam to run this guy. Let's see how many Minecraft joules this one creates. I want to say it's going to be 8. Yep, building up, going to have 8. So how are we doing with steam here? Are we getting enough to maintain the 8 Minecraft joules? I hope so. There it goes. Nice. And the robot is now much happier with the amount of power he's getting. Very cool. So the industrial steam engine, while expensive, creates 8 Minecraft joules. There's no other engine like it that can produce that much energy, except the electrical one from forestry with a lot of upgrades in it. So 8 Minecraft joules is pretty powerful for the steam engine here. But you're going to need to supply a lot of fuel and a lot of water to this thing. And you can see now our little robot running at pretty much max speed. So 8 Minecraft joules per tick. Yep, doing a pretty good job with our quarry. Now, of course, the cool thing about this is we can go ahead and run some more power to this guy. So let's do that now. I'm going to go ahead and run another wooden engine here. And we'll put down another industrial steam engine. Oh my. If we want to run another power line, I recommend running another line of, water here, another waterproof pipe, and let the steam come through on a separate pipe, because you don't want to have the same multiple engines on the same area. That might be a problem. So let's go ahead and turn this guy on and see if the stuff in here can supply 2 of these engines with enough steam to keep them running. So remember before I said that each one of these blocks can produce 10 steam per tick, which is enough to create 2 Minecraft joules per tick. So it looks like this thing and this thing are both going, but that's pretty much the capacity that we're at here. The industrial steam engine, we couldn't hook up any more steam to this, and you can see it's pretty stable, but if we tried to add any more engines to this system, we'd be in trouble. We'd have to build a bigger tank or go for a high pressure one. Yep, that would be the plan. Pretty cool. So that's how you convert steam energy into Buildcraft energy. Let's go ahead and look at industrial craft energy. So in order to make industrial craft power with the stuff, you're going to need a steam turbine. So you're going to need a 2x3x2 area of this. So you can see the recipe here. Lots of steel required to make your steam turbine housing. But we'll go ahead and start building this neat little structure here. All you got to do is, like I said, 2x3x2. There we go. Once we get the little face on there, we're in good shape. Now we're also going to need a turbine rotor, which requires some turbine discs, which are turbine blades around a block of steel. Turbine blades being 3 steel ingots, so lots and lots of steel if you want to get yourself a steam turbine. But go ahead and place that guy in there and then just run some piping to it. So I'm going to break these guys and make sure that they're not interfering with this thing at all. And I'm just going to run this out straight like this. Here goes nothing. Get some steam in here. And then all you gotta do is connect this guy to some industrial craft power. So let's get some fiber cabling. Now the maximum output of this block is 50 EU per tick. So that's a decent amount. That's 5 generators worth or 2.5 geothermals worth. A decent amount of EU. Not too bad. So let's get ourselves an MFSU and an EU reader just to make sure that everything's working really well. You can also create universal electricity power, like I said. That stuff will require universal electricity be installed, and it'll produce 50 kilowatts per tick. Neat. So just run some power straight out of here and into this guy. Now you can see it starting to build up. Now I've only got 2 cables going in here, and that means we're only producing about 25 EU per tick. So this thing is not up to maximum speed. You can see that the output is currently around 40% of what's possible. That's because this boiler is a little too small to produce everything we need. I can try and connect some more waterproof cabling here. I'm not sure that we'll have much luck, but we'll give it a shot. There we go. Let's see if we get a higher output now. Oh, looks like we're doing all right. You're going to need about 4 of these pipes, but notice now that I'm not producing enough steam to keep the massive amount of steam required to go into this thing. So you can see steam turbine, it is producing it, but the surplus steam inside the boiler is starting to drain. So we're going to need a bigger boiler than we have right now to supply the steam turbine at maximum power. Yep. That's what's going to have to happen. But with the current level, we're getting about 37. And like I said, you're going to need to run 4 golden pipes to maintain this thing at 100%. But you're going to need a bigger boiler to keep those 4 pipes filled all the time. Let's go ahead and try this out the side here. 1 more set of golden pipes. Trying not to overlap these pipes. There we go. So now we're really draining the steam out of the steam boiler. It's going to be running low pretty soon, but we're up to almost 100% capacity. So we should see pretty soon this thing hitting 50 EU per tick. Not bad. There we go. Yep, hit the 50 mark. Oh, looks like it's already starting to drop. That's probably because we're draining too much steam out of here. The steam pressure is getting a little bit low, and it's not able to keep up with the demands. This guy would be able to help a little bit better. Yeah, I definitely think he would. And with that, guys, I think we've covered steam power pretty extensively. And the only other thing I'll talk about with steam power is that there is the liquid steam boiler. You can see you can put some liquid in here to produce your steam. Instead of a solid fuel source, you can put fuel, biofuel, or creosote oil. And you can go ahead and create steam using that stuff. So just a neat and different way to create fuel and use that fuel to create Buildcraft power if you want, or industrial craft power. Pretty awesome. And right before I wrap up this mod spotlight, I'll show you the little Halloween Easter egg that you can get with the pumpkin cart. It's really not an Easter egg because it's, pretty easily found. But the pumpkin cart is a cart that you can run over a priming rail, the same thing that you would prime for TNT. Just go ahead and run it over there, and as soon as it hits that priming rail, it'll get primed, and then kaboom, explode, and it has the chance to spawn a random enemy and sometimes drop a potion for you. Pretty cool. And with that, I think it's time to wrap up this mod spotlight of Railcraft. So as you guys can see, all kinds of crazy, neat, steam-powered stuff added. It's a really cool system. Like I said, be careful about, outputting steam and keeping these tanks well heated without enough water supply in there, because you're really going to have a problem if this thing doesn't get the water it needs. Once it starts draining out the water, you're going to have a problem. Trust me. Bad things will happen. So, this is Direwolf20 signing off on the mod spotlight for Railcraft, and I hope you enjoyed it, and take it easy. Oh, who am I kidding? I'm not going to wrap up this episode without a nice little explosion going on. So I'm about out of water in the steam boiler. It's pretty high on temperature, and I think we're about to have a pretty nice explosion. Now, from what I understand is, basically you don't want to add water to a hot boiler, without, that doesn't have any in it already. So the point here is that this thing won't explode until we try to add water to it. Basically, what you should do is take the fuel source out and let it cool off before blowing it up or adding water to it, otherwise it will blow up. And also I wanted to real quick show you what those 2 cows wound up doing thanks to my feed station. So, there's the cows. Alright, now that you've seen the cows and the feed station and the water is pretty much empty, we're going to go ahead and attach our golden waterproof pipe. So, no water in the tank, lots of heat. Water plus heat equals bad stuff. Oh boy, that's nasty. So pretty decent size explosion, mostly going down because the top part of the tank is all iron. So pretty much focused downward explosion, but yeah, pretty nasty. So this is Direwolf20 really signing off on the Railcraft Spotlight. Hope you enjoyed it. It's really cool. Go grab it, download it, available for 1.4.2. And as always, take it easy.